Hey guys, what is up? Marco Stelno here, and today I have another amazing cutter tutorial for you guys. Yay! So yeah, I've covered in the last couple of days. I've covered a lot of cutter stuff, and you kept saying in the comments, more cutter, more cutter. So I actually kept playing cutter and kept searching games as cutter, and I actually had a lot of trouble. I ran in a lot of trouble these days because cutter is just so bad on Tundra and Release. Yeah, yeah. Cutter is just really bad on Thunder and Release. Versus the Brute, he's bad because he has trouble fighting off Banshees. Versus Anders, he is bad because he has trouble versus the Gremlins. And versus Forge, he is bad because he can't keep up with the economy. So basically, I had to get creative to come up with a good tutorial for you guys. Well, there's loads of other stuff you can do as Cutter on this map, but everything will just work out better with another leader. Now, this does not mean that you cannot play Cutter online at all, because Brute sucks on Bird Outskirts and many people play him. Anders sucks on Blood Gulch, and still many people play Anders. There's just a lot of stuff. Now maybe you would say Brute doesn't suck as hard. Like Forge sucks on Bird Outskirts. Forge sucks on Blood Gulch. Yeah. So every leader has a bad map. It's just that Tundra, it looks a lot like Merleys, and that's why Cutter has two bad maps actually. This does not mean that you cannot win. It's just gonna mean that it's gonna be a little bit harder. But I've been coming up with a good strategy for Release and Tundra for you guys. So if you just follow me, then I will introduce you to my amazing strategy. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna go Reactor Turret, and this is only versus Anders, of course, because this is only stuff an Anders will do versus you. So, what I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna try to make a nice group of hogs right there. I'm getting Gunner, waiting to get Gunner, and you want to be ready to get your Expo. You only upgrade one pet, no more than that. Even if you have extra money, you just queue up extra hawk or something. You don't want to upgrade more than one pet on your main, for now. Doesn't mean that if it ever gets to the late game, and you're gonna face your enemy, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, Marco Stahl told me on this video I should never upgrade more than one pet, so I'm just gonna sit on all unupgraded pets all day long. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. It's only gonna work for early game because you're gonna need a lot of extra money, and the Enders is probably gonna be doing the same. Although I think Enders can get two upgraded pets to be honest, but Cutter can get two extra pets. So I think eventually Cutter gets a better economy, but to start off with, Cutter has a little more trouble affording anything. So what I like to do is I like to delay one of my hogs and delay one of my pets. Well, not the hogs actually. I do not like laying the hogs, so I'll delay that pet. So now I do have an extra pet over Enders, but Enders does have an extra upgraded pet. So I guess we're kind of even. I have 5 pets, 1 upgraded. She has 4 pets. Well, he has. We're playing against stars, of course. 4 pets with 2 upgraded. So now I'm queuing up my last pet. So right now I'm gonna slowly gain economy. So because my base is stronger, right after you grab your expo, after you cleared it, you always want to grab your expo. That's all I'm saying. So right after you took that, you want to go over to this base and you want to try and do as much damage as you can. So you can try to Mag Blast this if you want actually. It's not a bad option to do it at all. I really recommend Mag Blasting it at this point. If they go for the base race, don't Mag Blast it. If you both play on offense and both of your hogs go to each other's bases, then I really do recommend not using the Mag Blast because your base is already stronger and you're gonna win that base race. So right now I don't really feel like I need to use the Mech Blast. I'm kind of trying to out micro him here, but it's kind of a hard thing because I don't know. His defender's advantage is just so huge at this point, and look at that, just losing 2 Warthogs right there like a fool. But I'm trying to trap him really. Since I've been playing with Metalwave Monkey, my micro has gotten a lot better. For Warthogs, and I don't know what it is, but he just has so many red bars that I just can't finish off right now. So, trying to put the red bonds to the back, everything, doing everything just fine. I could drop a mag. I could have dropped a mag right there, but it's probably for me. I don't know. I just don't do it. This does not mean it's a bad option. dropping a Mech Blast is an extremely good option, especially at this point. He has 2 buildings up. There's a reactor right there. If you mech it and aim it down, you will probably lose 2 or 3 Warthogs, but you will get the expansion down. And then you could have been affording it plus pumping hogs, because don't forget I have a reactor queued up right now. So all I'm doing right now is I'm keeping his hog numbers low. I'm not necessarily trying to push up. I'm trying to kill his units, because I do not want him to get the Grenadier. Like, you saw that Tech 2 going up. I do not want to pay for Grenadier. It's 500. I think it's too much for Grenadier. I'm not going to bother even buying it. I'm going to upgrade some pets, because now I can. And I'm going to not build Warthogs anymore. And with the 5 hogs I have left, I'm going to try to defend my depot against the Grenadier. And this should work out for me. If it doesn't work out, then I don't know. I can't really remember what happened in this game. Actually, I played it today, but wow. I do know that this is a good strategy, so I'm gonna try to get this tank out. You always want to go for a quick tank. Like, if you has my... as you might have noticed, there we go, that on all of the maps, I always went turtling for quick tank, and that's what Cutter's good at. That is what Cutter's good at. Now, I had another game where I showed you another amazing strategy on this map versus Stars, and it turned out to be a 40-minute game. And what I did initially, I did an Elephant Warthog Marine rush, and I will show you that as well. It's a very aggressive rush, and it can be done on most maps actually. It's a very, very, very good strategy. It will really, if your opponent doesn't see it coming, he already lost the game. He has to do something. He has to take actions to be able to stop it. But it works different on every map the way you do it. It's not so much of an all-in strategy, because by the time he fought off all your units, you already did so much damage and stuff that you should be either equal or more ahead if you play it right. Depends on whoever plays it right. But it's a nice push if you want to try to do an unexpected push, and I will give tutorials on that one as well. It can be done on every map. We did it actually, Stars and me, we did it on release. But I cannot find the game. I don't know. I have recorded it. It turned out to be a very, very good game. I'll try to search for it again, but for some reason, I don't know why, it just disappeared out of my history thing. So I don't know where that went. So right now I can do a couple of things. I can decide to pull up stock tanks, which is not a bad option. But I kind of want to know what he's doing. If he's going for just a couple of things, like tanks or something, then actually Kenny is not a bad idea. If he's going for air, I also need Tech 3 for the Wolverines, or I still have some hogs, but so you can decide to do a couple of things. You can decide to make a lot of stock tanks and then wait for him to push, because you don't want to push with stock tanks against an Ender. You don't ever want to push with stock tanks against an Ender, so just keep that in mind. And this build is actually pretty good. 1 depot off the station here, 1 depot off the fortress, and you should be about fine. So I'm going, I kind of messed a little bit, I kind of massed units and waited for him to push, because I saw Grenadier and I expected him to do some minor damage, trying to do some minor damage. He didn't do it though. So really, I'm just gonna try to get Kenny now. And when you're doing this, when you're going for Kenny like this, you see he's on the station and you do not notice an air pad. I did that right there. I used my flag to actually check for spots for an air pad, and I did not see one. So that means he's going tanks and gremlins, guys. That's tanks and gremlins. So I want a Kenny down tech. The reason for this is I want to have as much tanks as I want to have as much tanks as possible available to me when I make that push, because it's a really important push. I gotta do damage on this push. You either gotta defend cost effectively with a lot of massed units, or you want to do a push that that is cost effective for you. You don't ever want to go into a power turret on this game, on this map. I would rather grab a turret base and keep double pumping Kenny forever on this base than going for power turret. Power turret is 900, the reactor is 1000, another reactor is 750. If you're gonna do that, the most obvious reason is that Anders is also gonna do it. With all those upgrades and all that stuff that Anders is gonna get, you're only gonna let her get ahead. So you just want to keep double pumping Kennys and never give one or the two the option to tech into tech 4. So if they don't go air, you just down tech the Kenny and you're stuck to Kenny unless you're like on 3 bases and you're absolutely certain that they're not teching up or that you have like twice as much units. That's when you get tech 4 or something. But for the most part, you just want to make the push as heavy with tech 3 as you can. And you can drop the mech. I usually don't drop it. I usually highlight it so people drive away, and then I'll quickly click up another tank. Um, but I'm so sorry that I lost that video. It's such a waste about the Elephant Rush. It was such a nice game. I'll keep searching as Cutter, guys. Actually, I've decided I'll switch to Cutter, not because Cutter is a better overall leader, but because it's more of a challenge and it's a lot different to what I'm used to. It's all new discovering. It's all new discovering strategies, and I'm pretty sure that the Cutter tutorials have been strategies you haven't seen before. And you know why that is? Because I haven't seen them before either. I made them up myself. And that's why I like playing Cutter. I can do a lot of new stuff. I can try to explore everything. Well, this should give you a basic idea of how to fight versus Enders. Just keep the hawk numbers low, make sure you get an expo, and make sure you get the first tank out. And then you should be fine if you play everything right. I'll see you guys later. I'll give you a more in-depth tutorial very soon. I just had to pump this out for you real quick. See you guys later.